All right. Welcome to No Highway Option, a podcast about cinema, and the one burning question every movie has: is it better or worse than Vin Diesel's 2005 seminal masterpiece, The Pacifier? I'm Connor, one of your hosts.
I'm Luke, another one of your hosts.
This week's movie was chosen by me as revenge for our first episode. Say, Luke, what did we watch?
This is the worst movie I've ever seen, I think. It's about pig rats. It's called G-Force.
G-Force, the 2009 Hoyt H. Yeatman Jr. film.
Doesn't matter how many nonsense words you string together.
That's just the director's name. It's a story of Zach Galifianakis training a team of guinea pigs to take down Bill Nye and his evil kitchen appliances.
That guy's name is Bill Nye?
Yeah, you never knew that? It's spelled like Nighy, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Nye, or like Nighy.
Ah, I did not know that. He fell into the category of like actors who you've seen in a thing and then you can't get that out of your head. And for him, he's the old curmudgeon-y rock star from Love Actually.
Oh, yeah. I've never seen that movie.
Well, you would enjoy it more than what we watched.
I mean, I know everything that happens because my old boss, I was at a lunch with him once and he described the entire thing beat by beat when he found out I hadn't seen it. And then afterwards he was like, you should watch it. I'm like, I think I just did.
Yeah, I don't have to anymore. I am a slut for rom-coms.
I have to be in a mood. Oh, and speaking of nonsense words, do you know who's credited for the screenplay, according to Wikipedia?
An actual guinea pig would be my guess.
Nope, it's the Wibberleys.
Like, of Waverly Place?
The Wibberleys. The Wibberleys wrote this.
Do we know them? Are they
yeah, I
from somewhere?
We'll get into it.
Okay.
But so it sounds like you don't like this.
This was a turd.
Yeah, it's bad, but I found some entertainment. Let's go through what happened in the film. My first note is Luke stuck me with some bullshit with last week's Zoom episode, so I'm going to stick him with some bullshit.
Nice. For the first 10 minutes of the movie-ish, I thought that Zach Galifianakis was calling the one guinea pig Darling. His name is Darwin, Darwin. Took 10 full minutes. I have a note about it, and then I have another note about it later, because at first I was like, why is that happening? Why is it Zach Galifianakis filming in a room by himself, talking to a fake pig rat, calling it air. Darling?
Right, so the story begins with a super secret spy mission, which, is this their first mission, or were they established? That never was clear to me.
They have been training, so this is...
Okay, but it's like their first mission?
Yeah.
Okay. Zach Galifianakis sends out his 3 guinea pigs, Darwin, voiced by Sam Rockwell. I never wrote anybody else's names. Tracy Morgan.
Penelope Cruz is the girl one.
Penelope Cruz. And they also have a mole, voiced by Nicolas Cage, named Speckles. And, you can't tell it's Nicolas Cage, so, that's a positive, I guess?
I figured it out at the end. I was like, wait a minute, and then I looked
I remember seeing that in the advertising. But
he was my least favorite part of this experience.
Yeah, I gave him one positive note. But they're trying to invade Bill Nye's house because Bill Nye makes kitchen appliances, and he's planning on bringing them all together through the internet because it's 2009 and, Alexas are just becoming a thing. But that might be an evil thing known as Cluster Storm.
Yeah, the bad guy is Jeff Bezos.
There's one point where Sam Rockwell, Darwin, whatever, uses the phrase, "I'm 9 inches tall. I only see the upside."
Yeah, that was a weird thing.
That doesn't make sense.
Somebody wrote.
That doesn't make sense. He's underneath. he sees the bottom side of everything. He is small, so he can only look up at the downside, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
You really don't have a lot to say about this movie, do you? Besides, you just hate it.
I do. We're getting there.
The whole thing does sound like a fake 30 Rock Tracy Jordan movie. He would just come back and be like showing all of it off, and Liz Lemon would just be like, I can't. How is this real? Who was the writers?
Every animal in this film has tiny, gross little human hands. All of the pig rats have little human hands.
Also, and they walk on their hind legs.
The mole, the worst part of it all, has hands that are a third the size of his body and look like they've been burnt in a fire.
Well, that's just moles.
Moles
have
no.
hands.
I know they do. Every animal is in this is gross. They were like, it's like, oh man, you know how we're getting some success with talking animal movies? You know the Air Bud and he's got kids and they talk and they're cute. This was like, what if we rounded up every gross thing we could think about? They have cockroaches. They have a friend who's a fly.
Yeah, the cockroaches I hate looking at.
There's rats. There's a hamster who fucks.
We'll get to him.
The hands had me on a tangent. I did not care for the mole. I was so mad every time he showed up.
He is disgusting.
Also, right off the bat, we're introduced to the girl guinea pig with like a sexy coming out of the water thing.
Yeah, she's so sexy that Tracy Jordan just shits.
Yeah, why? This is very horny movie.
It's weirdly horny.
I don't know
but
why
only
it's
for
so
one
horny.
Character.
Yeah,
which is threatening. Almost. So they invade Bill Nye's house, trying to get this cluster storm thing off of his computer. At one point, somebody, I didn't write down who, sings "Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me" because it's 2009. We'll say that a lot. Bill Nye is apparently looking to do world extermination.
The evil plan was an episode of South Park, but the South Park episode happened later, so I guess they stole it from G-Force.
Matt and Trey have kids. They probably watched this and were like, all right.
There was that episode, it was either last season or a couple of seasons ago, where they talked to the Alexas and they were like, oh, let's be assholes. Let's say Alexa so many times that people were watching it and it was setting off their Alexas.
Yeah.
And that was my understanding of the evil plan until later when I found out.
The reveal.
Yeah.
I kind of was just like, I don't know what he's doing. He's just doing Amazon stuff.
Yeah.
He's just getting personal information, but like looks more evil than just Baldwin.
We didn't know he was as evil yet.
There's, fire and explosions, and there are so many moments where the guinea pigs fly at the screen to forcibly remind you this was in 3D.
Oh,
this
okay.
Was in 3D, remember?
All right. Well, yeah.
2009, big 3.
I didn't actually know that it was a 3D thing. That makes a lot of scenes make more sense.
The tagline on the poster is "Gadgets, Gizmos, Guinea Pigs in 3D." I'm not kidding.
Good.
So they get the cluster storm files and escape until, oh no, here come the Acme exterminators.
They start to escape through a clap-on fireplace that Jeff Bezos has, which turns on. Well, our handsome lead Darwin is standing in it. His ass lights on fire, and he says, "Anal blaster," and then they pull him up through the chimney.
I don't think I was paying attention.
I'm sure that's not what he said, but I watched it 3 or 4 times and couldn't pick out anything else.
Well, I think Tracy Morgan is named Blaster.
Ah, all right. Well, probably he said like
so probably now Blaster.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Not anal blaster.
Well, it was.
I thought at first that one of the Wilson brothers, like Owen or Luke Wilson, was Darwin, and then I finally looked it up, and it was Sam Rockwell.
Yeah, who did I think it was?
So we know that this guinea pig is a racist, but he has a heart of gold. The Acme exterminators come by, but it's actually Zach Galifianakis taking him home. They live in their little pimped out guinea pig house where, Tracy Morgan has a DDR machine.
Because it's
Penelope Cruz goes on her personal rodent Facebook page.
Yeah, wait. Did we get to the part where they said, "Good thing I took shop" yet?
Oh, yeah, that comes up more than once.
Yeah, well, there's like several points in this movie where they say things, and I'm like, wait, this raises a lot of questions about the universe they live in. Because
it's true.
The guinea pig, it references having taken shop class, which means that he went to guinea pig school where there was a guinea pig shop option.
As opposed to guinea pig home ec.
Yeah, well, I mean, any guinea pig classes
where
really,
they cook the very small carrots.
This means that there's formalized school. There's a curriculum.
Well, they are genetically enhanced. We are told at the beginning. So maybe he was genetically enhanced with a quip modifier.
But was he? We'll find out later.
We'll see.
Oh, also, when she is on Facebook, she's complaining about the dude hamster is not taking her seriously enough because this movie's horny, and she uses this analogy about like government bonds.
I honestly was not paying enough attention. I was just so thrown out of whack by why does a rodent have a Facebook page?
Right, rodent Facebook also falls into the like, oh, there's school. What is their society? What is their pig rat society, and why does it have its own stuff?
I forgot to look it up. I wanted to see if they made a fake Facebook page for her as a promotion. They probably did. Then Will Arnett, the evil FBI agent, comes in to, review how America's funds are being spent. So they
and he's rightfully upset.
Yeah, they show him a montage of everything that they've learned and what they're doing, which is set to "I Got a Feeling." Doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
but there it is.
The Black Eyed Peas, I feel like, had some kind of deal with this movie because they are the majority of the soundtrack.
They're a majority of the soundtrack, and they play the first half and then wait for the next scene where it doesn't fit. It never fits. And then they play the next half. Penelope Cruz makes a joke about shopping, even though she's a guinea pig.
Right.
They have no concept of money besides, carrots. What do guinea pigs eat?
Pellets. Yeah, it's referenced later. And then we find out that they haven't been enhanced. They've just been given equipment to talk.
Yeah, so they still say they're genetically engineered, but they have little earpieces that lead them to understand humans and communicate with humans. Because, sure.
Which means that Zach Galifianakis is just talking to the pig rats. They're not... There's nothing that makes them better to communicate.
No, he just wanted someone to talk to, so he talks to all of them. They keep standing on their hind legs. I don't like it when they stand on their hind legs. It's bad.
I don't have any functional, pig rat knowledge, though. That might be a thing that they do.
I don't think they do. The only guinea pigs that I've ever seen have, scurried around on the floor looking like just floof balls that are vibrating.
I don't know.
I don't know. Wasn't there
I got nothing.
Wasn't there a guinea pig in Bedtime Stories? With the huge eyes? Or is that a
hamster? Yeah. That was...
Yeah, he was never on his hind legs.
He wasn't, but he was more of a real guinea pig and less of
this is genetically enhanced super.
He wasn't a spy. He just showed up and you're like, oh, there's a guinea pig.
Will Arnett tries to shut him down. The guinea pigs escape and they go to a pet store where we're introduced to Steve Buscemi as a hamster who insists he's not a ferret and he's always angry.
Oh, before they leave, they also talk about resumes. They're they say this isn't going on my resume, which this is
oh yeah,
this is like Cars to me, in that each thing that they say raises more questions about the society that they live in,
even though it's kind of set in the human world.
Right.
So they escape. They're in the pet store. They meet Steve Buscemi and Jon Favreau as a fat Elvis-haired guinea pig who farts. He is
refer to him
with a
almost exclusively as Guy Fieri.
He would have been a better stunt cast for this.
Yeah, not that.
Like that's
Jon Favreau does a fine job with this turd, but
I mean, yeah, he does.
He can't chef his way out of it.
He does a performance. Then they try to escape the pet store again, and this is scored to I Got a Feeling.
Yeah.
Again.
Because the Black Eyed Peas thought this was going to be big.
I guess they did. Or just...
Well, this is another movie like Zoom where it was very clear that they were trying to set something up. Like, this felt very much to me like they were going to try and set up a Disney series.
Maybe. There's
it sucked, so they didn't.
Yeah, there's nothing where it's like, what if they would make a sequel? I've never seen any information about that. I think they were just like trying, and then the second they saw like the trailer, they were like, well, this isn't gonna work.
That Steve Buscemi hamster, who is part ferret.
Yes, his grandmother,
a grand animal, was a ferret.
Yeah,
there's a lot of talk.
There's a lot of talk about like animal hookups and stuff.
There's a lot specifically about this particular relationship. Like, they're always razzing about him about it. Like the G version of, oh man, mom fucked a ferret. And like, I just don't know why it happened.
Because this movie's horny.
This movie's horny as hell. Every new thing that happens, you're like, oh man, I didn't think it could get any hornier.
So kids show up and try to take the pets home.
A sociopath.
Yeah.
A family shows up to the pet store. There's a little girl and she child, takes Penelope Cruz because
she automatically knows that it's a girl. And then her brother picks up Jon Favreau and whips him into a snake tank, and then just takes Tracy Morgan instead. Which was... what the fuck?
Yeah. And then they leave.
Also, all of that was set to Boom Boom Pow.
The kid who works in the pet store pulls the guinea pig out of the snake tank and blames the guinea pig.
He does victim blame real hard.
Which is wild, because you assume that he's worked here for any space of time and can see its fucking stumpy little melted peep body. How did it get from its tank to the snake tank on its own?
Or he saw a child pick him up and be like, I want this one, and then changed his mind conveniently.
Yeah, but couldn't be the kid. Couldn't be the kid with the fucking glowing red eyes.
The Nicolas Cage mole plays dead to try to escape. He's also in the pet store for some reason. Because who buys a mole as a pet?
Someone who wants to get rabies.
He plays dead, so he gets...
he gets dead.
Yeah. My note is, gets trash trucked to death. Maybe.
Yeah, I wrote that he got squashed for justice.
Considering it's a PG movie, I was like, he's probably not dead.
No, yeah, I knew that he wasn't, but...
Let's see, there were disgusting cockroaches that weren't as bad as the cat's cockroaches, but still pretty bad. And now we find out that Jon Favreau and Sam Rockwell are somehow related.
Because of 3 white hairs that Sam Rockwell has.
On his ass. Yeah.
Which sounds like it could be horny, but it's not horny.
Jon Favreau's just like, well, we're brothers now. That's just how it works. We look a little similar, brother. Because they needed a subplot to last 90 minutes.
Oh my god, yeah. And it was like somewhere around this moment where I realized, holy hell, we still have like an hour of this film. I've only been watching it for a half hour.
I have a much later note where it hits the hour mark.
Oh,
that's been
I did it sooner.
That's been a theme with these where I end up going, all right, we're like 3/4 of the way through, right? And then I look and it's still an hour left.
Yeah.
They escape through Steve Buscemi's secret food stash hole. Because he has a secret food stash hole and he reveals he is part ferret.
In his Canadian log cabin.
It's super weird. As they escape, I'm guessing Tracy says guinea pigs gone wild.
No, it's the other one. It's Guy Fieri who says that.
Oh, it's Jon Favreau?
Yeah, it's Jon Favreau says the guinea pigs gone wild thing. Like, oh, we gotta get out of here. It's guinea pigs gone wild, which again raises
doesn't make sense.
More questions.
This is the second time a Disney movie has used blank gone wild in a joke, and it doesn't make sense to what Girls Gone Wild actually was.
It's closer in this because if you know that the first half hour of this movie was already pretty horny, then you'd be like, oh yeah, Girls Gone Wild fits. But like as a movie about hamster spies, doesn't really fit.
Because the other one was Chicken Little, when he's like, oh my god, the sky fell. There's like a dog with a video camera, and he's like, well, at least we can get money for selling this to Chicken Gone Wild. And I'm like, first, that's a dude. Second, he's a minor. What is wrong with you, dog man?
You've been waiting on the Chicken Little joke. You've been waiting to slide some Chicken Little in here.
No, I honestly just thought of it as we were speaking. No, God, I can't stand Chicken Little. It is the worst thing Disney Animation's done, period.
Wait a minute. The worst thing that they've done, not after finishing Pocahontas and then going, oh, you know what will make this better? More of the shitty things from her actual history, but animated.
That's not Disney Animation. That is Walt Disney Television Animation or Disney Toon Studios.
You said Disney in there a lot of times still.
Once the official animation studio, once the spin-off studio. I know what I'm talking about.
One is exclusively for bear baiting animated scenes.
My cousin did a Disney trivia thing for our family over Kahoot or whatever, and one of the questions was like, which was Pixar Animation Studios' first short film? And I was like, oh, that's easy. It's The Adventures of Andre and Wally B. And that wasn't an option.
Something we're all familiar with.
Yeah, no, it was easy.
A household name, really.
It was easy for me. But of all the options, that wasn't there. So I texted him immediately. I was like, all right, I'm going to put Luxo Jr. because I know that's what you think is right. But here's the real thing that came out 2 years before, buddy. I'm insufferable. So we go back to Bill Nye sitting in his, villain seat, and he's talking to Mr. Yanshu. And Mr. Yanshu says, I think it's best for everyone that we do not know my identity. So I immediately was like, this is Will Arnett or the Nicolas Cage mole. Like, without thinking, I'm like, it's one of the two.
I wasn't sure who it was. I knew that it was one of them. Yeah. I will say that I was annoyed later that I wasn't like, oh, yeah.
I got bored enough that I looked it up in Wikipedia, like, just tell me if I'm right or wrong. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm right. We'll get to that. That's when the hour mark hit. It was right around the introduction of Mr. Yashnu, a character who we only hear about for one scene.
There's still so much more of this film.
Yeah.
And afterwards, the Fly goes to see Zach Galifianakis.
Oh yeah, the Fly's named like Gumby or something.
Gumby. I wish it had just been a Gumby.
It's Mooch. I don't know where I got Gumby from.
Mooch the Fly goes to see Zach Galifianakis.
Voiced by D. Bradley Baker.
Zach Galifianakis can talk to it. It doesn't have any equipment on. Zach Galifianakis just talks to it.
Yeah.
It's not even like a Lassie situation. Zach Galifianakis is like, oh my god, I'm so glad to see you. Also, he knows that this is that specific fly. Just out of the blue, he's like, oh my god, yeah, obviously, look at that one. Look at his buggy eyes.
Look, did we ever get Zach Galifianakis' last name?
Did we ever get his first name? Ben. It was Ben something.
Wikipedia, it's Ben. Oh no, we did. Okay, because I was going to say, maybe he just invented the ear things so that the other animals could talk to humans, but he's just like Eliza Thornberry's son. And he inherited the talking animals. Then that would set
this way later than 2009.
He's a Doolittle then.
Someone made that joke while they were raiding the warehouse.
Oh, okay.
They were like, "Oh, is you Dr. Dolittle?" Which raises a lot of other questions.
And Zach Galifianakis is like, "No, I never had to pull bagpipes out of a dragon's ass."
Not that Dr. Dolittle. That one hadn't happened yet.
It's the same character, man. It's okay to be scared. So then we cut to Tracy. I keep calling him Tracy Jordan. Tracy Morgan's new life, where he is in a small car, and the kid is, I guess, trying to kill him.
Yeah, because he's a sociopath.
See how far he can push the guinea pig before he breaks.
Yeah, but Tracy Morgan is into it.
He's pretty sure it is animal cruelty, but he is loving it.
yeah, he's all about it. He's a
Boom
pig
Boom
masochist.
Pow is again playing in the background.
This is the third Black Eyed Peas.
It's not even the third Black Eyed Peas song. It's the second song, but they keep splitting it up.
Yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous. The kid who adopted him needs some fucking friends, is a note I wrote.
Yeah, or I would therapy, I would say.
Also, Tracy Morgan just spouts catchphrases. That's all he was hired to do, was go, "I have a crush on Penelope Cruz," and then say things like, "That was off the hizzook."
Yeah, just bullshit. Just uninterrupted bullshit the whole time.
Oh, this is when I looked up the writers, the Wibberleys, to see what else they wrote. It's actually not terrible things. I mean, it's not great things, but they wrote both the National Treasures.
That actually makes a lot of sense, because there was a point towards the beginning of this film where I was like, this kind of feels like a National Treasure movie. But I like not the National good Treasures. And about guinea pigs.
Except not good, right?
Yeah. It's sometime around this where Tracy Morgan is like hiding from this psychopath kid and like trying to escape. I was wondering how Tracy Morgan hides from anyone. I mean, maybe in real life, but definitely as this guinea pig, because he does not stop talking.
He doesn't. Ever. None of them do.
Uninterrupted stream of bullshit the whole time.
There's never a moment of silence in this film.
And like you said earlier with the catchphrases, but I wouldn't call them all the way hatched catchphrases. It's like
they're attempts.
Pulling words out of a hat.
Yeah,
it's like I have a lot more Tracy Morgan is hiding behind a pillar, and they look over and he's like, "Oh, rectum potato hat," and then like nobody reacts to it. And then he just keeps moving. He's like, "Oh, I don't know. They didn't see me."
So we cut from that to Jon Favreau and Sam Rockwell. They are skateboarding around, and they find one of
skateboarding around town.
They find one of Bill Nye's SaberLink appliances, and it becomes a robot.
Yeah, they fight it.
And you know why it becomes a robot?
I still don't know. I know because that it happened.
Transformers was a big hit 2 years before this came out, and Disney needed a Transformers.
That's more explanation than the movie gave. So
that's like, I mean, because and like all the stuff starts to change, and it just looks like the scene at the end of the first Transformers where the Allspark is zapping everything. There's like a Mountain Dew robot, and an Xbox 360 robot, and a steering wheel robot.
All better robot ideas than, what if a coffee machine was a spider? But it wanted to smash you. Because that was all of this. It was like, what if, you know how you have a washing machine in your house? What if it had legs? And then the door was always trying to smash your head like a tomato. Everything that you run into. Oh, you know, a blender? He's wandering around. He's got a knife on it, right? With it, it's cut up your face.
So at this point, they make it back to Zach Galifianakis, and he confesses to them that they're not genetically engineered super guinea pigs. They're just normal, and for some reason, this crushes Sam Rockwell.
He's so bummed about it.
Like, he had never made a big deal throughout the entire movie about being special or being, like, genetic, besides Jon Favreau, you're not my brother. And now he's just like, who am I?
This leads to my favorite short little, it's not even a full scene, it's just like one camera pan. It's my favorite thing in the entire film.
What is it?
They tell the big like gut punch to Sam Rockwell's character is that he not only was he just a regular rat pig, he was the runt of the litter. And that makes him so sad. And he says, I was a runt. And then the camera pans up to Zach Galifianakis's. She's like his assistant or his coworker. I'm not sure what she is. Girl. The two of them work in a lab. Yeah, a blonde lady, because that's all the character development they give her. And she must have had a line that either she didn't deliver well or they just cut for time. So it happens. Darwin says, I was a runt. And then they pan up to the blonde lady who just makes like a face, but with no words. Like, it's clear that her mouth is forming something, and then they cut away from it. It's hard to explain vocally, but it was enough to make me go, oh, wait a minute, and then rewind.
That's great, but also that's awful.
We also find out that someone called the cops on the guinea pig skateboarding. Someone like called the police to say there's two guinea pigs skateboarding down the road.
Skateboard.
Which, what?
Who's the narc?
Why is that? If you're going to call anyone, why is that your first call? A. And then B, in what? So what is the scenario there? Someone on 911 answered the phone. And they were like, there's guinea pigs, and they're on skateboards. And they didn't go, all right. Hang up.
Cool, man. Can you get them on video? That's
forwarded
awesome.
That call to the FBI. They were like, oh shit, this is serious.
The FBI calls every local police station. It's like, we're looking for 3 guinea pigs, and they have glasses and little ear things. And Jon Favreau gets an earpiece out of nowhere. He can just talk to everybody.
Yeah. He's part of the team.
He's just part of the team now. Tracy and Penelope Cruz escape. Oh, also, little girl's dressing up Penelope Cruz because it's a little girl. They put everything in dresses, even animals. Then they, torture the children, as you're wont to do in a 2009 movie.
Tracy Morgan sees the way that she's dressed up and says that she is fine china. We also find out later that in another part of what is the world they live in, Tracy Morgan's character graduated from West Point.
When did they say that?
When they were trying to hype him back up after Zach Galifianakis is like, you're just all regular pet store trash, and the animals are sad. One of the other ones is like, you graduated from West Point.
That's I did not catch that. Wow, that's awful.
I don't understand the world. Yeah. Who are just the aliens from Toy Story.
Pretty much. Proto-minions.
With less character development.
Ben confesses to the animals that they were not genetically enhanced. Penelope Cruz was a delicacy at a tapas stand in the Pyrenees.
She was food. She was going to be food.
She food. Tracy Morgan was being tested at a cosmetics lab for allergic reactions. Speckles was found, that's the Nicolas Cage mole who was totally dead, was found before his family was killed and his home was destroyed to make a golf course. And, Sam Rockwell was tiny.
He's small.
And now he normal. Then there's a car chase.
Yeah.
But the cars are chasing after 3 little hamster balls that have motors.
Yeah, this vehicle that Zach Galifianakis has been building them, 3 hamster balls put together in a probably another Transformers thing. But they show it to the rat pigs, and Tracy Morgan is like, oh, pimp my ride.
Pimp my ride.
Which is a weird thing because it's already made. The ride's already pimped. So is Tracy Morgan referencing the show?
I think he's just saying a popular thing.
Well, yeah.
I think
I'm sure that he's just saying a popular thing, but I think if you run with it, it's nonsense.
I think it took Tracy 2 hours to record all of his dialogue in this movie.
I think that might be long.
One of his next quotes during this chase, where he is excited about something, is bring down Big Mama with the baby disease. I don't know if you remember that, but I do, big time. I don't remember why he said it, but
I remember hearing the Big Mama part, but not the other parts.
Bring down Big Mama with baby disease.
Some stuff happened and it was like just going, and I was like, I'm not gonna rewind.
It's Tracy Morgan. He's got to make at least one joke about getting someone pregnant. That's his thing.
Well, it fits here. This is the horniest movie of 2009.
I would contest that, but I don't know with what.
Yeah, I don't have anything offhand to argue it with. I'm
look up. Maybe on the Twitter I can do a poll of like what was the horniest movie.
What was hornier? Was it this or that?
Was it this or Knocked Up?
Arguably less horny.
Yeah. Well, this will be a thing for the future. So one point Tracy Morgan says bye-bye bipeds, which they stand on two legs all the time. I hated it. They go to
They do a Scarface joke.
They do. They go to a county fair. They go to a county fair, and there's
but before
fireworks.
They get to the county fair, you gotta figure this is three. There's four of them now. They're in this little. There are three hamster balls, for size reference, rolling down the street, and the FBI agents are in, the classic black the FBI SUVs in pursuit, chasing this fucking thing down the street, and they're after it. Like, they're a hazard to everyone on the road. At one point, the guinea pigs drive up it's a trailer. They drive up it like a ramp and drive over something, and the FBI agent is like, I can do that too, and drives the car, just fucking mangles an RV, because they are so dead set on catching these fucking gerbils, guinea pigs, that he will murder anyone in his path, and it's not the only time.
This is a disturbing, horny world. That's all I have to say. They go to a county fair where there's an American flag made of fireworks, and all of them explode, and all the balls fly out ahead of it. And
the FBI agent tries to murder the people holding the fireworks.
Yeah, it's and they end up going back to Bill Nye's house. Oh, before that, they drive away from the fireworks destruction, and I believe it's Penelope Cruz that says, "You mess with the bull, you get the horns," which doesn't make sense for this scenario. It just doesn't fit. All she was doing was running away. All any of them were doing was running away.
Yep. They fly overhead over the crowd with the fireworks, and Tracy Morgan says to the kids, "Don't try this at home."
Mm-hmm.
But does that mean that if this is a world where everyone can hear the guinea pigs, or he's just saying it to them? There's a kid who looks at him who definitely looks like he understands.
I guess I see the level of camp cheesiness they were trying to go for. I think they were trying to make the entire movie just the one part in Spider-Man 2 where the kids are like, "Whoa, how'd you do that flip?" And he's like, "Eat your green vegetables." It's like, "I will, Spider-Man."
Except Spider-Man was good.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it's not. I'm saying that's what they were going for. They failed miserably, but
they hit face pavement. They hit pavement. I should stop.
They hit face pavement. So they go to Bill Nye's house and a bomb goes off, but they are small so they can avoid it. But then an evil microwave comes to life and tries to kill him. Jon Favreau's sitting inside the microwave
because there's cake. He see cake and he go in there. The microwave
he wants the cake.
Decides what setting to be on and settles on live chicken. We need to cook a live chicken in here. You know how your microwave has popcorn, defrost, live chicken,
whole rotisserie chicken, and put it in the microwave.
It's raw, not even there's no comparable. No microwave has a setting that's even piece of chicken. There's no standard for that. There's no reason for this microwave. No, because it doesn't exist. What is the uniform chicken cooking setting? What are they trying to reference?
I don't know, a 2-ounce breast?
Yeah, but that's not a button.
It's not, I know. But Jon Favreau sits in the microwave that's powered on for more than a little bit, but he doesn't explode.
A lot of the climax of this film.
I got very nervous thinking that we were going to see animal guts.
It only could have picked the movie up, I feel, if a hamster exploded.
There was more 3D nonsense, and then the big reveal. Who was Mr. Yanshu? Why, it was Nicolas Cage Mole.
The fucking mole the whole time.
The whole time.
The mole that I wanted dead the whole film.
Because Yanshu means mole in Japanese or something.
Yeah, it's some bullshit. That they said.
Chinese. Yanshu means mole in Chinese. So the Chinese audience was like, oh, is this a surprise?
They went, oh no, we don't want this.
Huh, Mr. Yanshu. Yeah, we already met Mr. Yanshu. He's the guy who died.
The plan, and then we finally figure out the end of the plan.
Disgusting, terribly designed Transformer bot with TVs instead of a face, I guess.
Like that was less dumb than what he was using them for, I feel like.
But the giant robot just looked awful.
Yeah, but like
horrendously bad.
Any time that I wasn't looking at the mole on screen, it was better. any bad CGI was better than looking at those little mangled mole ants.
The moles, I'm actually going to read from Wikipedia what the actual plan was. Speckles explains the purpose of Cluster Storm: to create a massive planet-wide bombardment of space debris pulled from orbit to make the planet's surface uninhabitable, admitting that the surface uninhabitable, so we wanted to drive everyone to live underground.
Mole people.
Like moles, yeah. Which, number one, this is just Walt Disney's original plan for Epcot. If you look into it, he wanted it to be a town where all the transportation and cars and poor people lived underground. And it's just how Disney treats their current cast members now. At least in the Magic Kingdom, you have to walk underground everywhere. Yeah, Molecot. It's bad.
He wants everyone to be mole people because people tried to kill him when he was young. There's a horrifying flashback with his CGI parents.
And just gas.
Yeah. And his dad's like, where his dad tells him, his dad's like, if you ever get the chance, commit human genocide, brother. And that's the thing. They were like, this is it. Says. Somebody wrote that down, and then somebody else was like, yeah, that's it.
You know who did? The Wibberleys.
Yeah, dude.
I just really like saying their name. Or no, they wrote the screenplay. The story was by the director and some guy named David James, who doesn't have a page on Wikipedia. They eventually convince Nicolas Cage Mole what he's doing is wrong, so he blows everything up.
And nobody dies. There is a 12-foot robot made of appliances that's freaking stomping around the area, and it breaks into a million pieces. Cars flip over. The ground is overturned. They're near a military base.
It's fine.
Everyone is fine.
Jon Favreau, you think he might die, but then
he smelled
a cake. He loved a cake.
He loved it. In your aftermath, everything has just ended. The FBI goes to arrest the guy from Love Actually, Bill Nye. They go to arrest him, and Will Arnett's like, no, code 4. Which means that they have a code for bad guy didn't do it. It was a mole.
It was all a mole.
No. It was the mole.
Well, the entire premise of this movie is said by Tracy Jordan. Morgan, god damn it. The entire premise of this movie is said by Tracy Morgan, like how they pitched it. He just goes, oh, so the mole was the mole. And I can just see them going like, eh? Right entire movie around that one pun. It's gonna be great.
Let it happen. They were like, oh yeah, that's it. That's the thing.
Jerry Bruckheimer was like, I'll throw money at it, man. I've still got Armageddon and Pirates cash. In the end, the FBI makes them all agents, doesn't give them little suits. I wanted to see them all in little suits.
Yeah. Well, there's another scene of someone just standing with their mouth open at the end. Darwin is like, thank you for believing in us, Zach Galifianakis. And they pan up to Zach Galifianakis, and he says not a word. Doesn't nod, doesn't acknowledge that he's been spoken to at all. He just looks dead fish at the camera, and then they pan back.
Yeah, one of my last notes is poor Zach Galifianakis. I had written poor Zach Galifianakis like 4 times throughout my notes, but never brought it up until now. But poor Zach Galifianakis.
So much of this movie was just people standing in a room next to nothing while they filmed.
Nicolas Cage mole isn't technically arrested. He's just given a chore. They're just like, take all the chips out of this thing. And he's like, I guess I could do that. One of the bright shining moments in this strange mess was when Nicolas Cage is explaining his plan. He says the word node, but he says it so strange. He says it like, node. And that made me laugh so hard because I think my body was just like, you need to laugh once. So it chose to spend it on node.
Don't laugh at anything on purpose. Only things that happened.
Last but not least, because it's 2009, dance party ending.
With
everybody dances.
The credits were repulsive. There's a dance party. There's a disco ball made of cockroaches.
Jon Favreau is now an FBI agent in training. Steve Buscemi and the mice are as well, I think.
You know, because they were characters.
Yeah, they were there. We get to see pretty much a highlight reel of the best quips from the characters as the voice credits. We get to hear, I'm glad I took shop one more time. That's the film. That's Jet Force. That's... I think maybe just because it's Tracy Morgan, but I do think I liked it more than Zoom.
I like all of the people who were in this film. But just nothing about this movie.
Zoom was just bad and boring, and this was bad and strange. There isn't anything with Zoom. It's like, oh, kid superheroes. Sky High came out a year before. We can just rip that off. This, it's like, animal spies, the very popular subgenre.
See,
but let's make them rodents. It is kind of a new thing, even though it's not, and that's why it's so strange. And I liked it more.
It's a new thing for sure. Many things were new at one point. The Hummer was a new thing at one point. Yeah,
I'm not calling it good. I'm saying I liked it more, mostly in an ironic sense.
Eating paint Zoom. Chips was new. Once.
Well, anyway, enough comparing it to Zoom, because this podcast isn't about comparing movies to Zoom. It's about comparing them to The Pacifier. And we have our criteria up and ready. In case you forgot what it is, our criteria is, how's the soundtrack? Where does the main actor land on the dieselometer? Did I like it as a kid? What did the director do after this? Who's the Brad Garrett strange side character? And is there anything comparable to the out of nowhere and immediately finished Sound of Music subplot in The Pacifier? Which, in case you forgot, they think the kid's a Nazi, but he's just playing Rolf. So let's start with the first one. How's the soundtrack? Terrible.
See, I wouldn't outright say terrible, because the Black Eyed Peas were good. We all liked the Black Eyed Peas.
They're entertaining songs, but
I wouldn't say good because it was poorly used.
It's the same 3 songs over and over, and then O Fortuna at the end.
Yeah. It's definitely not good.
I gave
there
that a
was
negative.
Some content.
I said it was bad.
Yeah, I wouldn't give it good.
Stuff. I wouldn't put this on a playlist at all.
No.
Where does the main actor land on the dieselometer? For me, I put Sam Rockwell was the main actor, I guess.
I guess, man, but
he was the lead character. He did sound like he was trying, but everything surrounding him wasn't giving him anything.
I would I wouldn't necessarily call him the lead. I would call this an ensemble piece. I'd give it to all of them. I'd rate them all the same, which is Vin Diesel does this thing a lot where he does Facebook Live events. He loves it. He's always like, I'm doing a live. We're doing a live. And one time he was on the red carpet and he did a Facebook Live video where he forgot to take the phone out of his pocket. So it's it's like a long space of time where just nothing was projecting. It was just the inside of Vin Diesel's pocket. And then he took it out at the end and he was like, oh shit, guys. And then he turned it off. And that is the Diesel performance that I would rate the actors in this film.
You know what? I'm not even going to say mine because mine wasn't that good. Did I like it as a kid? I didn't see it until I suggested it for this podcast.
Yeah, I would have been 15 when this movie came out, and I just saw it this time.
I would have been 14, and even at age 14, I was like, wow, this is trash. And this came out only a few weeks after Transformers Revenge of the Fallen, which was my favorite movie for a little bit.
Yeah, man, those when Transformer movies were so good.
Revenge of the Fallen's bad, though.
I have not watched that one in a while.
It's bad.
To be fair. But it does have the second Air and Space Museum. Not the one that's in DC, but the one that's outside of DC with all the cool planes.
What did the director do after this? You ready to hear his directing credits after this film?
Yes.
Nothing.
He didn't do anything?
You ready to hear his directing credits before this film?
Yeah.
Nothing. This is the only movie. He's a special effects supervisor.
Oh, okay.
And like a big special effects guy. He's been working since like the 70s and the 80s on visual effects stuff, but this is the only film he's directed.
So he's probably good at the other stuff.
Yeah, I kind of.
Although I don't know if you can give this to one solitary person as a mistake.
No, I'm not. I mean, he also did come up with the story.
Oh no.
So, some of the things he was visual effects supervisor on, if I'm going backwards from 2020, Bad Boys for Life, the series of unfortunate events show on Netflix, Jack the Giant Slayer, right before this, Underdog, Sky High, and Kangaroo Jack.
Okay, so this was like one blemish. Kangaroo Jack also. Can't give you any points for Kangaroo Jack.
Did you miss when I said Underdog and Jack the Giant Slayer?
I didn't see Underdog, and I don't know what Jack the Giant Slayer is.
I saw Underdog with my cousins on a beach. They had beach movies for
like you saw Underdog flying by while you were laying on the beach. And you're like, holy shit, that's a flying dog.
Somehow they had beach movies, and like they had it again this year, but it was like Ratatouille, Paddington 2, and like a bunch of stuff that's on DVD. I was pretty hype about their run, honestly. But
Ratatouille.
That year, somehow they had now playing in theaters, but also on the beach. So we saw Underdog because my cousins were like 4, and it was bad. Very bad.
I believe you. I just didn't catch that one.
This was one of my first introductions to Peter Dinklage.
Was he the dog?
No, he's the villain.
Oh.
And I think Patrick Warburton's his assistant, but like they're both live action. It's strange. Who's the Brad Garrett strange side character of this movie? I chose Sociopath Kid, and I put that a plus because something about him was like disturbingly funny.
That's a hard one. I feel like Jon Favreau.
I guess, but
he's like I would say that he's 3/4 or like 1/4 of a character.
Yeah. I think I chose the kid because Brad Garrett's kind of the secondary antagonist in Pacifier, and like this kid's kind of a villain. He's weird. He comes out of nowhere.
But he doesn't have enough. There's a spark to Brad Garrett. He is.
No, there is. There
he's
is.
saying all that funny stuff. He calls Vin Diesel Frogman. Like, it's unmatched. He
introduces himself and he's like, my friends call me Little Puppet. No one knows why.
It's a perfect film. Pacifier is a perfect film.
It's great. And last but not least, is there anything comparable to the Sound of Music subplot? No.
No, but there's one point where one of the guinea pigs falls on a sprinkler, and it's like a bidet.
Yeah. No, that happens. So my total came out to be around -3, which of course means it's much worse than the pacifier.
Yeah, I would give this a carrot.
Out of 10.
Yeah, 1 carrot.
That was G-Force. That was our episode on G-Force. I mean, I'm never going to watch the thing again.
Yeah, it's done now. Like, you can check that off your bucket list.
I'm ready for death because I've seen guinea pigs. You said you had a pick for next episode, right?
Yeah. Okay, so your hint, there's some backwards hat energy.
Is that the only hint?
I'm trying to give hints that aren't going to immediately give it away. So there's some backward hat energy. Strength is involved.
Oh, is it? I think you mentioned doing this. Is this the what is it called? It's got a dumb 80s name because it's the Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling movie.
It is the Sylvester Stallone arm wrestling movie. It's called Over the Top.
Over the Top. I kept thinking Maximum Overdrive, but I was like, no, that's when the trucks and vending machines come to life and try to kill Lisa Simpson. So we're doing Maximum Overdrive next.
We're doing Over the Top.
Over the Top. God, that's gonna fuck me up.
I don't know. Are we gonna drag a third person into this, starting with the next one?
We can. I mean, we're not gonna announce any guests now, and plus, I feel like our first couple of guests aren't really gonna be big announcement, exciting things because like it's gonna.
I don't know when we're gonna get a big exciting announcement person.
It's gonna be our friends, and like if our friends listen to it, they'll be like, "Ooh, will they listen to it?"
Yeah.
So
going forward,
Over the Top.
Our plan. We're gonna try and have a person on here that's gonna watch these films with us, and then that person is gonna give us Quantum Leap style our next movie that we have to watch, and then our guest has to watch it with us.
Yeah, we'll figure out how everything goes. That's it. Tune in next week for Over the Top.
Fuck yeah. It was on Netflix for a long time. I don't know if it still is.
Thank you very much for listening and coming back. If you listened to the last one, that's actually not half bad, I don't think. It's a starting out podcast, but it could be worse.
I'm a fan. I don't know how you could have listened to it because we haven't released it yet, but
no, but I know
retroactively, I know.
Yeah, this is the second one. You gotta think. You gotta think fourth dimensionally.
I'm thinking fifth dimensionally.
If you want to follow us on, first, if you want to subscribe to us, leave a review on your podcast provider of choice. That'd be great. Follow us on Twitter at Highway Option, or you can email us with any questions or suggestions you may have. We're trying to make the show better bit by bit at nohighwaypod@gmail.com.
Word.
I think that's everything.
Thanks for listening.
I've been Connor.
And I have been Luke.
And this has been all our opinions. And if you didn't like it, too bad, because it's our way, no highway option.
No highway
option. We'll get it eventually.
Yeah.
The theme music for No Highway Option is the song Welcome to the Show by Kevin MacLeod, licensed by using the Creative Commons Attribution License. To find this song and more songs like it, or to read the full license for yourself, you can follow the links in our show description. No Highway Option was created by and starring Connor and Luke, and produced by Connor.